In this episode, I'd like to talk about life is tough, but so are you. How is confidence built? I'd like to take a look with you, the scenes, the emotions behind it all. What does it take to be confident? I put together for you 6 most important points along the way that I learned what I know about confidence. Number 1, challenging the status quo all the time. Not about what you have, what you reach, not the certificates. They just matter, right? Your graduation, the lifestyle that you have, what you eat, what you listen, who you have friends with, etc., or who you are friends with. They all matter, fine. However, the inner halves are even more important. When we regularly challenge the status quo, and not only I have a car, I have an apartment, I have a music set, I have that, I have a kid, I have this, etc. So all these materialistic, on the surface, seeable, touchable values that we created are not the real carrier, real deal maker of self-confidence. They're, you know the feeling, you just buy a car that you wanted to have, or you bought a bicycle, you just saved money for that bicycle for a long time, you bought it, and then it basically, neuroscientifically we know, 15 minutes and 8 seconds you got dopamine shock in your body, and then that's the end of it, that it's yours, you have it. However, the inner halves, they feel constantly good. And this is all where we would like to go or get, right? We all would like to feel happy. We all would like to feel joy in ourselves. Well, how do you get there? When you regularly check when dealing, because it's a part of life to check or to tick the boxes, right? It's a part of our life that we created. If you want to have a space for yourself, that you just say, I am, that feeling is created when you are good at ticking the boxes, but also creating other values within yourself. And confidence is then created, number 1, as mentioned, when you challenge the haves status quo regularly. What kind of person you are to the others rather than what you do for the others. I had that era term. I'll just do an episode about this myself, so you can listen to my story a little bit. And what I learned is that it's not about what you do for others, it's about how you are to others. When you really grasp this and then put it into action, and then learn or teach your psychology buddy how does that feel, acting differently creates an amazing confidence, and you stick to basically your roots completely new again. Is a great experience. Do that regularly. Number 2 is identifying conflicts. There's a big difference between conflicts and problems. Problems are unemotional, they are usually factual. So if you were photographed by the police for speeding, you have a problem. So you just go to a lawyer or react to this writing, or you just give up your license for a month or 2. It has a consequence, but it's a problem, it's nothing emotional. If you, however, do a job that you don't like, but you go there because it pays the bills, or you're together with a partner that you just say, I'm not really happy with my partner, but I don't know what else to do, or you're having friends, but you don't have the right feeling with them, you just say it feels wrong, but it's better than nothing, that kind of things. These are conflicts. If you want to travel around the world, but because of your responsibilities, you feel stuck to exercise something, then you have an inner conflict. Identify them and try to do something for that desire that you have in your inner world. If you want to travel the world, you can start sparing some money. It feels good to complete your dreams one day. If you are exercising a job that you don't like to do, but you don't find the drive to actually apply for something else, then pull yourself up and write that CV, write that, do this first step, and then take a look how it feels. Because this is the problem that we all have. We are not sending enough horses in a race and expecting to win the race. How is that possible? How is that possible? It's not. So identify the inner conflicts in you and try to just offer solutions to this unhappy part of yours, or listen to that part. Acceptance and seeing the conflicts is the first step, working on them, and get a professional. Number 3, I say it's very important is, in a world up and down, we are all learning to meditate, we are all learning to treat ourselves well, we are all learning to eat well, etc. We are all aware, smart people, fine, I understand that. However, all that we build in ourselves don't mean a thing when you do not have loadable relationships. That takes a long time, and that shows that you are a sustainable person. So have friends in your network who are doctors, have friends in your network who are insurance specialists, lawyers. Do not stick around with the same kind of people all the time. That gives too little room for growth. Just 3 weeks ago, I woke up just before our big audit for E4P. I had a really unpleasant vein explosion in my eye, right? So it didn't look really nice. My vision was not distracted at all. However, I looked like a vampire. So, and I called a doctor friend who I know over 10-12 years. We coached her children, and I called her at 7 o'clock in the morning. And when I called her, she was like, "Evelyn, what can I do for you?" I sent her a picture through WhatsApp. She told me, "Well, it's nothing serious. Go to the doctor or go to the pharmacy, get this and this. It's gonna be fine." And this was the case. So have that kind of friends. When you have a problem that you can call and say, "Well, can you give me an advice? How to do, what to do with that?" This gives you another confidence that you're connected to you've got roots in this world. It's important. How does that happen? By regularly keeping in touch with those people, having a dinner with them once or twice a day, a year, a day too if you want to, calling them in their birthdays, caring for them in COVID times, giving them a call, or as crisis times, being there for them even when it is for a few minutes call. This is how you take care of those kind of relationships, that they become loadable through time. That takes sustainable reliability, that takes sustainable following the values that as friends you created with that person with. It's very, very important you have loadable relationships, not many, not billions. We're not talking about a follower group of 5,000, 6,000 or 10,000 people. These are people who share your ideas. This is this other thing. But having loadable relationships take time, needs guts, and as well lots of understanding and heart. Right. Number 4 is the self-critic. It's very, very important to take a look at ourselves regularly when evaluating status quo about your life. Also taking a look at yourself in the mirror truly and say, what can I do better? We tend to say, well, if my boss had more understanding, if my wife was like that, if my husband was like that, if my children were like that, etc. They aren't. So if they're not like that, as you wish, you cannot blame them. So you have to have the guts, you have to learn to have the guts, and that guts happen when you regularly, question the status quo, etc. I mean, it takes time, and you have to learn to take time to think about yourself, what you can do better, what is your contribution to change the things for better for you. The motivation is not for them. The motivation should be, how can I make the things better for me? And when you understand and define to-dos in that direction, giving an example to you, you can write to-do lists, not like, calling Mr. X tomorrow. You can say, well, I'm going to say hello, good morning, good afternoon to people with sparkling eyes tomorrow. And do that, and then see what happens. When you just say good morning to people like this, with a body language like that, you get good morning back. When you just take a look at people with the right posture and with sparks in your eyes, good morning, good afternoon, or you look under the weather today, or oh, you look good today. Giving feedback to people in one way or the other, that what you see, what you sense, also builds relationships, just automatically. So do this, be self-critical, ask yourself, what can I do better? Showing vulnerability is very, very important. This I learned. You see, we all give a kind of picture to the outside world. I used to hear myself, Evelyn, you'll make it. Oh, you can handle it. Well, because, experience showed that Evelyn is able to deal with the disaster in 10,000 days, in 10,500 different ways. We deal with the problems with strong women, with strong men. However, showing vulnerability in crisis times, when you feel insecure, also confident people feel insecure, and showing vulnerability regularly to yourself among all, and to others, just as transferred or translated into to the others. Hey, can you give me a hand? Or I'm totally lost in this. What do you think? And ask your question. Can you help me? I'm totally lost. And sometimes even a nice advice, a nice feedback will turn your or their sparks totally into a bright light. I can just tell again from myself, a couple weeks ago. It was a day where I just was, telling myself I should be doing more recordings or more content, etc. Questioning my content. We all feel sometimes insecure. And I asked a good friend who knows me for years, can you give me a little feedback about my work? Because I needed it. And she left me a wonderful message that motivated me for the weeks to come. I mean, since then I'm producing a lot and changed my perspectives, because she told me one valuable thing. She said, Evelyn, you got the best intentions to deliver to the world and you got the brains for it. Why are you just holding yourself back? Indeed, I've got the best intentions to help you guys, and I would like to transport my know-how, and along the way with the episodes, your know-how through so many people, so that we can inspire each other. Because innovations, change, good things happen only through inspiration. And that is why, back to the point 5, is that show vulnerability. If you need help, ask for it. I repeat, if you need help, ask for it from the people, from those loadable relationships that you have, so that you can also feel you're not alone, because most of the time we think we are alone, but we are not alone. To do all these things, neuroscience has found out. I made so many small videos, and in the previous seasons we mentioned this a lot. visualizing, just closing your eyes and visualizing the better person who you are, from the clothing to gesture to sparks in the eyes, to every step that you take and every move that you make. You just really imagine that person by closing your eyes and just dreaming. It's not daydreaming, it's called visualizing and even meditating activity, and it's very, very good for our brain. It's also the part that makes the things happen. Just imagine the years between 0 and 10. Where were you imagining yourself to be? So were you just living in a big city, cosmopolitan city? Were you just doing a kind of job with people, without people? What were you imagining as a child in your dreams? Think about it. Now, just take a look at your life. Is it completely different than actually you imagined on those years? I don't think so. Because we visualize, our visualization centers, right hemisphere visualizes things already in the childhood years, compresses itself, forms itself an ideal, and this happens along the way in our development, right? So with dopamine we get update, as an updater, so we update our views to things with certain chemicals in our brains. And through living, through experiencing. No experience, no learning. I'm very much convinced that many of you will confirm that, oh, wait a minute. Indeed, actually, I'm living the life more or less I imagined as a child or as in my youth today. I wanted to become an author and lived in an Italian rundown apartment and imagined drinking espresso in the morning hours with Italian friends and then, writing books. I live in a rundown building in Berlin today. It's not the most modern building right and left. The buildings look slightly better than mine. And high ceilings. I already wrote a book, and I actually am doing something for the society in my best intentions and abilities that I have. So having realized this a couple of years ago, I said, wait a minute, okay, not really Italy, but I'm in Berlin, Germany, and I actually am living the life I imagined I was gonna have in my youth, in my childhood years. And I can imagine many can confirm and understand how visualization work. Keep on doing it for the rest of your life, for short-term or for your short-term goals, as well as for your long-term goals. If you can imagine, you can do it, said Walt Disney. So this is how I'm going to end this very episode. Take care and see you next time.